Hi everyone, let's do the paper 6 IGCSE May June 2025. So the question number 1, they show us this diagram of respiratory system, gas exchange system, and what is A, B and C. So A, you can see here is the trachea, and B is bronchus, and C, these next more divisions are called bronchioles. So they are bronchioles. What is the function of the cartilage? So you know the trachea is made up of cartilage. These bones, they are made up of cartilage because air has to pass and trachea has to expand and avoid collapsing. So it can increase the volume, so it prevents from the collapsing of trachea. That is why it is not made by the bones. Question number 3, explain how inspiration happen. Inspiration means how the air enter into the lungs. So when the air enter, so the first muscle diaphragm contract, and when the diaphragm contract, it moves downward and it increase the volume. As in volume increase, the pressure decrease. And we know there is another muscle, that is external intercostal muscle, that also contract, but internal intercostal muscle relax. So external intercostal muscle contract and it raise the rib cage, so the volume increase, and after that, because the pressure decrease inside the lungs, so the air that can enter into the thorax very easily because of the pressure difference. And the expiration is the same process, but it opposite. In expiration, diaphragm and external intercostal muscle relax and internal intercostal muscle contract, and air move out of your lungs. Next question is the cystic fibrosis. This is a condition that actually affect the lungs, and in this condition, a person has a mucus in the airway, and that mucus is very thick and sticky. So two type of cells in the airway that can protect our body against pathogen and particles. So remember, in the lining of respiratory system, there are first cell called goblet cells. They secrete the mucus, and mucus can actually trap the pathogens and the dust particles, and the air get clean until it reach the alveoli. And other cell are the cilia. So cilia are the hair-like projections. So they propel and move the mucus to keep the trachea clean. So there are actually two types of cells, and in normal person, they actually help to clean the airway and help the person to breathe normally. But in cystic fibrosis, the person, they get affected, so their goblet cells and ciliated cells, they are not unable to propel the thick kind of mucus, so they have problems in breathing. Next question is how having thick and sticky mucus in the airway affect the ability of person to do exercise. Remember, when the mucus is thick, it is very difficult for the cilia and to propel and make the trachea clean. So if a person is breathing, he require more oxygen, because during exercise the demand of oxygen increase, and if a person that has the cystic fibrosis, his cilia cannot propel that sticky and thick mucus layer, and also the alveoli surface area also covered by this kind of sticky mucus, so the gas exchange surface can also be decreased, so the so the exchange of gases also decrease, so there will be less oxygen in the blood, and the muscles could not have enough oxygen for the next reactions and produce energy. That is aerobic respiration. So here they tell us something genetics about cystic fibrosis, and it's called by recessive alleles. The recessive mean both allele need to be affected, then the person will have the disease. So the allele for no cystic fibrosis is the capital F, and allele for cystic fibrosis is the small f. So two heterozygous parents wants to have a child. So predict the probability of these parents to having a child with cystic fibrosis. So when we're going to write the genotype, the phenotype here is that they don't have cystic fibrosis. So genotype, because they are both heterozygous. So here the two heterozygous parents. So we write capital F and small f. They have the gene allele for the cystic fibrosis, but they don't show up. So we can call they are the carriers. So when we you can make this Punnett square. So this can also make your work more simple. Small f, capital F and small f. So only this is, so one kid out of 4 have the cystic fibrosis. So we can write the gametes here like this, and the gametes of these genotypes, the offspring genotypes, we can write like this, and their phenotype, we say 3 out of 4 have no cystic fibrosis. This is completely normal. These 2 are the carriers, but they don't have the disease yet, but they have infected allele. But this one will have the cystic fibrosis. So the probability of having a child with cystic fibrosis is 25%. Next question, they show a photomicrograph of human blood, and complete the information. So RBC is this one here, they are the F. How can we say this is RBC? Because they don't have the nucleus in there, so, and they are large, and the function is to contain hemoglobin, and they can carry oxygen. G here is the lymphocyte. They have a big nucleus because they produce antibodies, and that is the key information. H, you can see here, it is a fluid, that is the plasma, and the plasma can transport all the other gases and dissolve the soluble nutrients and transport along the body. You can see E is the neutrophil, lymphocyte, E is actually phagocytes, and they actually can engulf, you can say, phagocytes, phagocytosis. Their function is to attack on the pathogens and kill them. And the small here, they call platelets. The platelets are help in blood clotting. The next question is, some diseases are transmissible. Transmissible means they can transmit from one host to the next, from the pets to the animals, from the humans to the pets. This is called transmissible diseases. State the name of the pathogen that is transmitted direct contact with the blood. So there are a lot of pathogens, but we can just write simply HIV. HIV is directly transmissible disease. So state 2 other ways the pathogen can transmit indirectly. When we say this word indirectly, it means there is something between 1 and 2. So this is indirect. So indirectly, there is like food, or you can say contaminated water, some droplets in the air. So breathing in the droplets in air containing pathogens, or eating the food that has the pathogen, or drinking contaminated water, or touching the contaminated surface. So there are a lot of ways the pathogens can enter in indirectly. Describe the role of antibodies in the defense against the pathogen. So we know that the antibodies are produced by the lymphocytes, and these antibodies catch the pathogens because they have a specific site that is called binding site, and they are complementary shape to with the antigens, and when they bind with the antigens, they stick with them, and then they can destroy these pathogens. And they also produce they can also it's easier for the phagocytes to destroy them. So our phagocytes, like the neutrophils, they also can catch any pathogen that has antibody and engulf them. Next question is how active immunity is different from passive. So active immunity is like the immunity that can help us for the long time, long duration, and it is like the our body, our lymphocyte that can produce our own antibodies, and they also can produce the memory cells that can give us the protection from the pathogens for the long duration. And vaccination is like an example of active immunity. Whereas the passive immunity is the short-term immunity, like getting an injection of antibodies, or you can say breastfeeding. This is also kind of passive immunity. And then remember, active immunity have the memory cells, and memory cells can give us protection for the second time of pathogens entering the body. So that's the difference. Question number 3. Scientists developed the genetically modified maize, and they show us this data. So calculate the percentage increase in the mass of GM maize between 2000 to 2015. So here is 2000 and 2015. So if you see at 2000, it's almost around 80, and the mass, if we see at 2015, is almost 225 around somewhere. So we can just simply use our mathematics. 325 minus 80 divided by 80, that is 206. But the answer we have to write in two significant figures, so we must write 310% increase. Next question is, there are genes that are found on specific position on biological molecules. So state the name of the biological molecules. We know that in the nucleus we have the genetic material, chromosomes and everything, and the genes that are present on the biological molecules is called that our DNA. So DNA is a double strand like this. So they are the genes that are present on DNA. Scientists who develop GM croplands breed from them for many generations before allow any farmer to grow these croplands. So the question is, why scientists breed the GM crop plants for many generations? Actually, when we made any new changes or genetic changes in any kind of crop, we must have to make it sure any side effects, if they are present, or they can produce good yield, or their flavor, the taste is good, then the scientists allow the farmers that they can grow these kind of crops. So you can just write to ensure there's a minimum side effects and ensure that their desired genes can be spread over many generations.